healthcare, food, living spaces, transportation, cities, enterprises, energy, and digital trust. We believe technology is forging a brighter future.
Good morning, everyone. Hello again. Sorry to rush you all. We are running over time, so I'd really appreciate it if you can try to stay awake, and because we have a really interesting session, keynote session number 2. The first keynote session was very interesting. We looked at the basics, connectivity, digital platforms, services, the need for connectivity as a universal service, and so forth. The second session, the second keynote, we will delve on the most important criteria of connectivity. Okay, so if you can take your seats, please, we'll begin. Okay. Before I start, I've been told just over and over again that I have to thank our sponsors. So please do ask for your understanding. We have IMDA as a lead event partner. We have the Singtel Group as a lead telco partner. Borna Global as an innovation and investment partner, and they have a summit tomorrow, which will be very, very interesting. We have Huawei as a platinum event sponsor, and of course KT as a headline sponsor. So we thank all these 5 organisations for making this Mobile 360 APAC possible. Great. So, we've actually talked about digital transformation, accelerating digital transformation, and so forth. And accelerating digital transformation is becoming faster and faster from sector to across the economy, now globally. To really maintain that and sustain that change in digital transformation, there's a big need to continuously invest in connectivity so that this connectivity reaches all the people to provide as a universal service, whilst at the same time, provide the innovative digital applications and services over platforms. So we actually have very impressive 5 speakers, keynote speakers for this session. 1 from a pioneering government, 2 from a leading mobile sector, and third, 2 also from the enabling tech sector. So for the first speaker, I would like to invite Mr. Atsushi Umino from MWC Japan. Stage is yours.
excuse me. Good morning, everyone. My name is Atsushi Umino, and I'm Deputy Director General for International Digital Infrastructure Promotion at the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communications of Japan. Today, I'm very pleased to be at this event and to have been given this opportunity to speak. And I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the GSMA. And to start with, I would like to talk about our plan for a digital garden city nation to ensure connectivity for a digital future. It was relatively recently that the Japanese cabinet decided that the public and private sectors will cooperate more than ever before in pushing forward digital transformation in rural areas. And this decision was based on the recognition that digitalization is key for addressing social issues in rural areas, as well as being a source for a new added value. On this basis, I would like to share our vision for a digital garden city nation, which is one of the top priorities being pushed forward by the Japanese government. And the digital garden city nation is a key agenda of Prime Minister Kishida's what we call new form of capitalism, which focuses on cooperative efforts between the public and private sectors to boost economic growth by producing a favorable cycle of growth and distribution without leaving everything to the market and competition. Actually, Japan faces a number of challenges in rural areas, such as monopoly concentration in Tokyo, and falling birth rates, and an aging population, revitalizing local economy, and the maintenance and improvement of quality of education. And therefore, Japan aims to realize the digital garden city nation by promoting digitalization, starting with outlying regions, closing the gap between urban and rural areas, and finally connecting our nation with the world. And we believe it is essential to develop hard and soft digital infrastructure in order to materialize this digital garden city nation. And for this reason, a national infrastructure development plan was drawn up in March of this year. And the basic concept of the development plan is as follows. First, infrastructure, including optical fiber, 5G, data centers, and submarine cables, speedily built according to local needs. And second, holding of regional councils to promote matching between local governments, telecommunications carriers, parties involved in social implementation, and others for local digitalization and infrastructure development. And third, accelerate R&D on beyond 5G, which will become the infrastructure of the 2030s, and the results will be implemented in society starting from the late 2020s in order to realize the early start of beyond 5G operations. And in view of the theme of this section, which is connectivity for a better digital future, I would like to focus on our efforts to further infrastructure development, which is indispensable for digital transformation. The first item is the development of optical fiber. In Japan, the household coverage stood at 99.3% at the end of fiscal year 2020. But there still exists a gap in the development situation between urban and rural areas. And in order to close this gap, we aim to achieve a target of 99.9% by the end of fiscal year 2027. And therefore, we will use subsidies to promote optical fiber development in areas with unfavorable conditions. In addition, the relevant legal act was recently amended to position wired broadband services as a universal service. Through this framework, we will establish a new subsidy system to support the maintenance and management costs of businesses providing wired broadband services, including optical fiber in unprofitable areas. Moreover, the government is taking initiatives to hold regional councils that consist of local governments, operators, and infrastructure sharing companies in order to grasp local needs. And we believe that this system will contribute to further infrastructure development. And secondly, I would like to explain our 5G development policy. In Japan, there has been steady progress in the development of 5G infrastructure, but there are still regional gaps in the development status between urban and rural areas. Therefore, Japan aims to create the world's top 5G environment level with a two-phase strategy. Phase 1 is a period of basic development under which we plan to deploy master stations, which is the foundation for 5G deployment, and in almost all areas where there is a need. And phase 2 will see the local government of 5G stations, local deployment of 5G stations and expand area coverage nationwide. And specifically, we plan to raise the 5G infrastructure deployment rate to 98% by the end of 2023. And this refers to the ratio of developed parent stations in a 10-kilometer square area. In terms of 5G population coverage, we aim to achieve a target of 98% nationwide and build 5G base station in every municipality by the end of fiscal year 2023. After that, our goal is to achieve a target of 99% nationwide and in every prefecture by the end of fiscal year 2030. And in response to a drastic increase in communications traffic, that will accompany the advent of a full-scale 5G area by the end of fiscal year 2025, Japan will allocate new frequencies for 5G to triple the current frequencies allocated for mobile phones. This will begin with the allocation of 2.3 gigahertz bands this year, while introducing a judging process for prioritizing base station development in areas with unfavorable conditions. And furthermore, we will provide financial support for such areas, including depopulated areas and remote islands, in order to promote 5G development. And we will also promote infrastructure sharing by setting subsidies requirements and trying to develop technologies to enable infrastructure sharing by base stations. And thirdly, I would like to explain the development of data centers and submarine cables. In Japan, around 60% of data centers are concentrated in Tokyo. And these need to be decentralized in order to build resilient networks against possible disasters. Moreover, submarine cables have been mainly laid on the Pacific Ocean side of Japan, with far less development in the Sea of Japan. In terms of data centers, we expect to build more than a dozen regional bases over the next 5 years or so. We also plan to complete marine cables surrounding Japan within the next 3 years and decentralize landing stations. In order to achieve these development plans, a new subsidy system has been established to cover a portion of the initial investment when a private business opens a data center outside of Tokyo or deploys domestic submarine cables in areas other than the Pacific Ocean. Publicly financed initiatives are expected to encourage private business operators to further development data centers and other facilities in outlying regions. And finally, I would like to refer to the social implementation of the next generation information communication infrastructure beyond 5G, which is absolutely necessary for the development of digital infrastructure. In regard to R&D related to beyond 5G, global competition has been intensifying year by year. By promoting strategies for R&D, as well as intellectual property and international standardization, in an integrated manner, Japan will powerfully advance social implementation of development results and international standardization starting from 2025. And Japan is committed to addressing diversified social challenges by developing digital infrastructure as rapidly as possible, and by promoting digital transformation proactively in rural areas with the joint effort of public and private sectors under the vision of Digital Garden City Nation. And we believe that this initiative will contribute to the realization of a connected digital future. Thank you very much for your attention.
Great. Next, we have a very interesting keynote presentation from KT. But before I go, I'd like to mention, I found KT very interesting because today we're talking about 5G and G5. At KT, it's really interesting because they don't actually refer to 5G anymore. They are concentrating and focusing more on accelerating digital transformation. And so we have Justin Moon ready to deliver his keynote on the DigiCo. Justin, stage is yours. We're having a lot of hardware problems. Hardware problems?
Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Johnny. Hello, everyone. My name is Justin Moon. I'm in charge of global business in KT, and I'm also a member of GSMA Strategy Group. Actually, we don't use any more 5G or G5 in Korea. So aligning with today's theme, I would like to share the strategies and actual cases of digital platform company that KT now is promoting for the better digital future. COVID-19 has affected our entire life, including our work life. In particular, it has digitized and transformed the working style as new standard, as new normal, as we already know. Then, how should us telcos respond to these changes? The strategy that KT chose was to expand the field, which we call it the playground, that can change daily life and the market. DigiCo is the KT's new vision to become a digital platform company by leveraging telco's infrastructure and assets. The existing traditional business such as mobile, broadband, fixed line, and B2C has been expanded to B2B and DigiCo. And we try to expand the scope of value creation by reallocating our resources. Through the KT's existing assets, AI, big data, and cloud, we have designed 8 new growth business. Media, contents, and commerce, where customers spend a lot of time in their daily life. Finance, real estate, healthcare, that are great interest to customers. AI, robot, cloud IDC business as a digital transformation domain for all industries. Now focusing on the cases of growth businesses, I will go deeper into digital transformation. First up is AI space. KT is an AI operator with over 3 million AI speakers subscribers, excluding existing wired and wireless customers. If you look around, AI technology, including speaker, is taking more and more part of our everyday spaces. AI apartment is expected to exceed 1 million households this year, and AI hotel service is provided in approximately 8,000 rooms across the country. Throughout the AI space, we were able to expand our playground within the new business area, living space for the customers. Second is the AI contact center. FIA Space is a service that expanded the AI domain from living spaces such as home, hotel, apartments. AI contact center, AICC, is a successful example of expanding KT's AI capabilities into the enterprise area. KT implemented AI to our own call center, contact center in advance. Now we have already secured about 70 B2B customers in the financial insurance field, contributing 8% of cost saving, and we expect that it will reach up to 30% in the near future. KT has also expanded AICC into small business as well. AI Call Assistant is a service that accepts repetitive, consumable, simple calls to promote stores. It already has references in 30,000 places in Korea. To help you understand the service right away, I have prepared a short video clip.
저는 31살이고요. 이름은 곽한별입니다. 사장이자 막내로 일을 하고 있습니다. 맨 처음에 오픈했을 때는 혼자서 충분히 다 잘할 수 있다고 생각을 했는데 오픈하고 한참 바쁠 때였는데 그때는 머리도 해야 되고 전화도 받아야 되고 모든 걸 다 혼자서 해야 되잖아요. 너무 정신없고 막 진짜 힘들었던 것 같아요. 그러던 중 AI 통합이사를 알게 되었는데 정말 잘 쓰고 있습니다.
안녕하세요, 고객님. 무엇을 도와드릴까요?
토요일 오후 8시에 커트 예약하려고요.
네, 고객님. 8시로 커트 예약해드렸습니다.
주차는 되나요?
주차는 60분 무료입니다.
아, 감사합니다.
바버샵 AI 통합이사였습니다.
덕분에 서비스에 집중하게 돼서 고객님들도 정말 많이 늘었습니다. 24시간 다 응대를 해주니까 그게 정말 좋은 점인 것 같아요.
AI로 일터를 돕는 디지코 KT.
So KT's AI technology is also being applied to robots. We provide innovative services through the linking with various smart solutions beyond simple robot service by establishing a stable network within the space where the robot is operated. We provide cloud-based linkage of store management solution that can be applied to customer stores centered on robots. By providing services in such an integrated way, we are completing the transformation for customers' overall work. And lastly, for AI, the CITS business. CITS is service that provides real-time traffic safety information by sharing and reflecting interactive information between vehicles and traffic information of local government based on V2X network. Again, to help you understand the service right away, I short video clip for you to watch.
주말에 시작될 것 같은데 빠른 병원이 좀 부탁드립니다.
긴급 차량 우선 신호 요청합니다. 상황실 여기 제주이면 관제센터 신호 통제 들어갑니다. 우선 신호 받아 정차 없이 바로 통과합니다.
이 시스템으로 이동 시간이 단축되어 골든타임을 사수할 수 있게 되었습니다. 다른 도시에도 많이 보급되어 소중한 생명을 구하는 데 도움이 되었으면 좋겠습니다.
This is actually implemented in Jeju Island, and we will expand nationwide. So KT's Digico started off from thinking about how to lead changes the customers' lives. So it was also about finding the best way to utilize telco's infrastructure and assets. So I assume those of you who are with me here today could have a similar concern. So I hope what I've shared today could be a helpful reference for companies that are considering transformation or seeking new customer value. Thank you so much for listening.
I would like to invite Mr. Bill Chang, who's the CEO of Group Enterprise for Singtel. Bill, over to you.
Thank you, Justin. Good morning. Great to see all of you in Singapore, and I hope you have a wonderful time here. Whilst you're having this event, please enjoy Singapore. Thank the organizer for GSMA 360 for giving us this opportunity to share what we're doing in the enterprise 5G. I lead both the group enterprise functions in Singtel and also the regional data center business across this region that we're building our data centers. About 4 years ago, I shared this internally with our board and management that, looking at 5G and the need to invest ahead, like what Moon, our group CEO, said, it's also a very challenging time looking at, how we think about new technologies. And as the leader in, communications, we have to make that move. However, at every G, I was sharing the team that, every G since 2G, 3G, 4G, the ROIC has been dropping, including 5G. If you think about this, the capex for deploying 5G is much higher than 4G because it's smaller cells in the density of the network, higher speeds. But at the same time, the lifespan or the shelf life of technologies is actually getting shorter. From the time we had 2G to 3G to 4G and 5G, even before we roll out 5G at 95% coverage, people are talking about R&D in 6G. So, and if telcos cannot break out of the sort of connectivity business model, if you think about connectivity alone, which is really hard to try and ramp up the growth once it's matured, especially like country in Singapore where you have fiber up and all that, then at a higher capex, lesser shelf life that you have, definitely ROIC, which is a major returns on invested capital, major sort of measure by our shareholders will be, and investors will be a major issue. So it's very important that we look at the capabilities of 5G. About 4 years ago, we said we have to change the game, and without which it will be very hard to really, continue investing in new generation technologies. At the same time, we see also 4 years ago this emergence of this phenomenon called the edge cloud that will be really big given the rise of 5G and how the edge and far edge will come into very big play. So we started, moving very aggressively, thinking about 5G in a very different way. Instead of building connectivity, we said we're going to have this vision of combining 5, key elements together. The properties of a 5G software-defined network with all its wonderful capabilities like network slicing, etc. But we really want to use this to aggregate the edge cloud as well. The edge cloud, it's really about thinking how do we work with players who are dominant today in the public cloud, but not at the edge, and therefore the opportunity to really position us there. And finally, ensure that the security and the trust in ensuring that this will go into private networks for defense, public safety, mission-critical applications. And with 5G, there's huge data, much bigger than what you have in 4G today. And so there is going to be massive AI opportunities at the edge and, bring about this whole, big transformation in IoT. If you think about how we harness that big data and edge AI, and then releasing this whole next generation services. So we set about 4 years ago thinking about this. And, whilst one team was building and rolling out the networks, we set up a software development unit within our enterprise group to focus on building what's called an IP that we have called Paragon. And it's a platform that essentially, if you think about this, it's like an app store on your smartphone. You can make your smartphone device into a bank because it's a mobile banking app. You can make it into a shopping device because e-commerce app, cab hailing device because it's a cab hailing app, et cetera, right? Multifunctional. So this whole Paragon platform was conceived to be the app store of a terrestrial network, whether it's run by the telco or a private network, doesn't matter. And it aggregates our 5G terrestrial network capabilities. It for compute and all these wonderful properties. It aggregates also the compute capabilities of the edge cloud. If you think about the edge cloud and 5G, it brings about this whole huge bandwidth and very low latency. Anything that's defined in Singapore's terms, less than 10 milliseconds. Huge bandwidth, right? And we can bring connectivity and compute. Really, you unlock a lot of stuff that you could do in the IoT front, and I'll explain that in a while. And then we went in to make sure that we could also aggregate the public cloud players. So we have Amazon, we have Microsoft, and soon Google will be onboarded. And then we have OCI, and we're talking to a Chinese hyperscaler to cater to the demands of this whole Chinese enterprises who will use the Chinese cloud as well. So we're making it multifunctional from a cloud compute capability at the edge. We have also built northbound on this app store, all these apps, just like apps to do on your phone, multifunctional, a bank, a cab hailing device, a health tracking device, etc. We have all these apps, and we are now focusing on building these apps on an app store. An app store with more and more apps today makes it more valuable by the day. Whether it's apps, it's in autonomous drones, whether it's a smart glass by RealWear to the big players, Apple who wants low latency services, and SAP who wants low latency services, and Microsoft with HoloLens. And now we have enabled a multifunctional app store environment and aggregated this over connect and compute capabilities, and allowing customers to onboard these apps in a matter of less than 10 seconds. And then with that, they can then insert SIM cards into their robotics, into their drones, into their AGVs, and then they're able to sort of manage it through the apps and make those intelligent devices very powerful. We're starting to see also, working with many of the IoT players, the opportunity now to make those IoT devices lighter, more powerful, and cheaper. Because all the compute, it's all in the edge cloud versus being on the device, right? And so it drives a certain revolution of the IoT devices itself, so that you can then have a network effect to really roll out more and more customers adopting the IoT devices, which is good. And then it relies on the connectivity and the compute at the edge to deliver low latency. And what we're trying to solve here, it's not to solve world hunger. We're very focused around a 2x2. The 2x2, it's around low latency, high latency, right? Low latency is 10 milliseconds and under, and bandwidth. Anything that's 500 megabits to 5 gig to 10 gig. And what we're focused on, it's really low latency, less than 10 milliseconds, more than 500 megabits per second. And that's what we're focused where it's mobile. So in the categories, we have a lot of use cases there. It's largely defined and summarized as the autonomy of X, autonomous drones, autonomous robotics, autonomous devices, autonomous vehicles, autonomous guided vehicles, right? That's one category. The sort of immersive experience of X, whether it's 4K, 8K, AR, VR, sort of smart glasses, HoloLens, etc. That's one big category. And the AI at the edge, whether it's speech analytics, voice analytics, and all the amazing stuff you could do. Now, the compute and network is off the table, and you really have this opportunity to maximize and to deploy IoT in a very big way. We have started exporting Paragon into many carriers. Optus and AIS have launched this, and a number of carriers are talking to us. This morning, another really big player in North Asia is talking to us too. And we have demonstrated the ability to plug Paragon not just into an Ericsson network that we own in Singapore. In Australia, it's Ericsson and Nokia network. And in AIS, it's a Huawei network. So Paragon sits on 3 major brands, Ericsson, Nokia, and Huawei, and it plugs into multiple cloud players, you name it, including the Chinese hyperscalers. And it allows us to now plug in. Obviously, more carriers means more market access. More market access means greater regional customers coverage, and also the apps developers developing something in Singapore, or Australia, or Thailand, or India soon. will really have this opportunity to reach out to a massive market. In GSMA or MWC this year in February, we actually demonstrated our federation of our edge cloud and 5G network with Telefonica to demonstrate that the ability to bring this abstraction and the services into Spain and in Asia, and to be able to do this seamlessly, just like we can offer this one fine day when carriers all have their basic edge cloud capabilities, so that we can offer this on a global scale. We could do this like what we did for global roaming, so that enterprises, app developers, all can benefit from the global scale. So this is an exciting development, and with this, we actually secured almost all of the enterprises deploying 5G. The reason is because without Paragon, the enterprises will have to figure out how to buy a 5G network from someone, how to go and bring the edge cloud, put applications, have to really figure out security, and do a whole bunch of things. And unfortunately, only very big enterprises could have the resources to do that. And they'll do it at a TCO many times more than we, building it once, deploying it many. And as we build this, and we build this into more countries, we deploy this at scale, we have the ability to now really have more and more apps developers bring a rich ecosystem on it. In fact, now what we're doing is learning from all the massive sort of deployments we're doing in Singapore, and you see them in a while. We're now learning how to use this capability to really bring the next set of wins much faster than what we had in the initial phase. We're basically accelerating this adoption of Paragon with carriers, and we're now encapsulating the learnings and not just exporting Paragon, but exporting the know-how of breaking into use cases and vertical industries, and then helping carriers monetize 5G faster than just buying a tech stack from us. So we call this the digital acceleration platform powered by 5G. And there is many customers who are adopting this, more than 50 of this in Singapore. Still a fraction, but at least we're now starting to see how enterprises are benefiting from a 5G deployment, whether it's in Sentosa, more than 30 use cases there. Hyundai Motor Corp, who has a most advanced factory in Singapore, producing 30,000 vehicles, and they're using a digital twin, sort of factory. They call it a Meta factory. It's all in the press release. Micron building semiconductor with all this edge AI capabilities, including 5G integrated command center with robotics and sensors, all coming in 5G experiences, and a whole bunch of these things. We're now exporting this into 2 carriers, and there are about 6 or 7 more talking to us, bringing this into their countries and to really benefit. And the carriers are all doing this because they are all facing this big challenge. If they are just relegating themselves to a connectivity business model, it's going to be very hard for them to make the ROIC. Now, with Paragon, they not only monetize with the network, we also have a much better and fairer revenue share with the edge cloud and public cloud players. We also charge by APIs, like a Twilio, right? API calls. We also charge, rev share with the apps providers who are accessing our customer base in the region. And finally, we export our Paragon capabilities as Singtel into the group and also beyond our group of companies, so that we monetize 5 ways rather than just the network itself. So this is a very important initiative that we're rolling out, and really keen to explore partnerships, not just with telcos. Actually, large enterprises are also starting to deploy this for their private networks. We have since taken Paragon to reintegrate back to our 4G as backup, and also integrate it into, very soon, Wi-Fi 6. So Wi-Fi 6, 5G will interoperate because it will go into a factory with Wi-Fi 6 and 5G as it goes out of factory floor. So Paragon will become the aggregation of networks and the aggregation of compute at the edge or at the public cloud, and sitting with all on top, all this rich next generation services powered by 5G. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Bill. It's great to hear 2 leading mobile operators talk about their initiatives. Next, I invite Mr. Jun Zhang from Huawei. Mr. Jun Zhang is Vice President at Huawei's Public Affairs and Communications Department.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jun Zhang from Huawei. Actually, I'm in charge of public relations in Asia Pacific. Today, it's really my great honor to be here and share with you about some of our thoughts. My topic is ICT enabling digital epoch. As you can see from this slide, Asia Pacific is a very promising market with a young population. You see from the table that the median age in most countries is under 30 only. So we have a lot of young people. And the young people are mostly internet native, since they are born with internet. And they are very open to new technologies. So as you can see, compared to with the other region in Asia Pacific, the new technology adoption is speeding up with a very young age structure. Meanwhile, with more and more services and business shifting to digital, the market is attracting investment and capital. In the year of 2021 alone, SEA recorded as many unicorns as in the last 8 years combined. So we see a lot of new companies coming. They provide a lot of contents. The internet economy in Southeast Asia is on track, as we can see. And then we expect that it will hit $300 billion by 2025. So with such big content providing and also so many young people, we see a huge demand of internet service. So in this kind of booming market, a solid and efficient network facility is really needed. Speaking about the network facility, MBB is really preferred now. I think everybody now, every day we use mobile phone. And the technology in Asia Pacific, we understand that we have 4G, 5G, and in some area, we still have 3G. So better mobile network experience is one of the driving force of digital economy. For all mobile operators, spectrum is always the key facility. And it's very easy to understand that more spectrum contributes to better network experience. And we always complain that the network is not good. The bandwidth and the speed is not good enough. So in Asia Pacific, we analyze that the average spectrum per operator is about 177 megahertz, while the status really varies very greatly across the region. As we can see, in some countries, one operator may have around 400 megahertz, but in some countries, it's even less than 100. So we classify the market into 3 waves, where 5G is currently available massively, like in Thailand. Of course, in Singapore, now we can enjoy 5G. And in some countries and areas, 5G is ready for launch. And some other market, it's yet to develop the 4G potential fully. So in the coming years, we see we really need more spectrum. And as we can analyze from here, the bandwidth requirement in the region ranges from about 200 mega to 500 mega. So currently we see for most operators to evolve to 5G in future, largely, the current spectrum they have is quite not enough. So the demand of spectrum includes 3.5 giga, 2.6 giga, 700 giga right now. And in the near future, we need to consider 4.9 giga and 6 giga. So we need to make a plan for that. Actually, as you can see from here, when we talk about digital economy, we need to consider the connection density, the computing diversity, and the carbon reduction. So this result in the digital economy vitality. Of course, in the near future, if we want more growth in digital economy, we have to embrace the digital life and the society, and to enable vertical industries. So for 2C services, users require ubiquitous connectivity with high quality experience. So operators need to build up a very good 5G network. As for 2B, we can see a booming future, as we all agree, but government support is very, very critical for driving ecosystem participation, so as to incubate 5G applications. In H1 of this year, we are very glad to see 5G leading operators enter into a fast growth channel where penetration rate of South Korea reached up to 42%. And in Hong Kong, it has been 20%. While in Bangkok, we see that, like AIS, the penetration rate of 5G subscribers already come to 16%. According to the study, 16% to 20% market adoption is the key chasm for new business. Once crossing 20% chasm, it migrates to mainstream market and will drive business growth fast. So this already happening in South Korea and the China market. In fiscal year 2021, we noticed that LGU Plus got year-over-year 3.7% revenue growth, while in China, CMCC revenue growth was year-over-year 12.9%. So we all say that 5G is still a costly business. We may complain or we are not so satisfied with the CapEx or OpEx. So in order to help our customers while provides NOP, the capabilities and solutions, it includes the first, network precise planning. It helps 5G operators do network precise investment so as to save the TCO. You don't need to waste the investment in some area where there is no potential for 5G. Secondly, we offer 5G tariff design consulting, new service innovation, and eco-partners link up. We understand that we really need a lot of partners to develop the ecosystem, so we can help customers to uplift the app. Third is promotion. We provide service consulting solution, and the operator marketing team can easily find 5G potential users and hot areas, do precise marketing, and then acquire 5G users. So this is our offers to help our customers. Even when 4G came, we did the same thing for our customers. I think now 5G really needs this kind of support. In fact, technologies, the new technologies like 5G, AI, cloud, need an ecosystem-driven approach. When industries seek digitalization solution, the service providers, policymakers need to come together and engage to work toward solution verification and commercialization. In Thailand, we have seen a complete positive cycle of 5G development. The government set up a 5G committee at an early stage and defined 5G as the basis of Thailand 4.0. Meanwhile, through streamlining the process of ministries and departments, they stimulated 5G investment and they empowered vertical industries via 5G technologies. So today, Thailand enjoys one of the best networks in the region with a surge of application scenarios across various industries. Ecosystem is really a great task. In last month, Thailand government initiated the 5G alliance with a lot of partners and companies. And here, together with many partners, we also joined the 5G industry community organized by GSMA, where we share successful experience of 5G applications in various industries. Here are 3 areas we focus on: connected manufacturing, advanced mobility and transportation, and digital healthcare. So we all welcome you to join us. Let's join hands to promote the development of digital economy in Asia Pacific based on 5G. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zheng. Great. So next we'll have another important ecosystem player in the digitization value chain. And I'd like to invite Mr. S.T. Liu, who's the Vice President and President of Qualcomm Taiwan and Southeast Asia. Mr. Liu.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I want to say thank you to GSMA for the invitation. It's always good to come home to Singapore. I'm in charge of Taiwan all the way to New Zealand and Australia. My boss is always saying that the region's name is longer than the market we have. But it is one of the most exciting regions in the world, especially with 5G coming, arriving to the scenes a few years ago. But more importantly, if I were to do a quick analysis of the recent history of the world, a few years ago, 5G became a reality in many of our markets, here in Asia as well as throughout the world. And then came multiple world events. We were already on the way and massively involved in many of our ecosystem partners in digital transformation. The pandemic came and the recent world events accelerate and make more of the unpanned demands and possibility technologies can bring to bear. So instead of just smartphone in the past, 5G together with the associated technologies that 5G brings, artificial intelligence, and the confluence of technological advancement in computing power, the chipset today used in your mobile phone or your IoT device is many times more powerful. These technological possibilities, together with the need to do more and the need for many, many enterprises and industries to realize, by the way, we need to do digital transformation. And I'm very happy to see presenters after presenters this morning that talk about the need to grow talents, the need to create ecosystems. So it's no longer just, here's the technologies, we can do all these things, and a few people will come up with the solution. It is creating a groundswell of innovative possibilities. And so to answer these questions, is the opportunities growing for connected intelligence at the edge? Absolutely, it is growing very, very quickly. Not a day passed that we have conversation with people that we usually would not have a conversation with. ICT industry in the past, but now you're talking to factory that make shoes, tailor small and medium-sized enterprises that want to improve their efficiency, and so on and so forth. This is very important because not only it drives interest throughout the industry, enterprises, and normal human beings and people. It is the need to connect everything, everyone, everywhere, all the time, and reliably. And I heard Bill from Singtel mentioning the build-up of the ecosystem and the intelligence on the edge and all that. All these things, I think, will really, really encourage our younger generations to come up with even better and more innovation and solutions, because we need that. Not a few companies can address all these needs, but together, all of us, with the right technologies, can. And Qualcomm's role is to do that. We have spent years after years developing technologies for the future. 5G was worked on 10 over years ago. And like Bill said, yes, we're already working on the next generation. But this generation, the 5G, still have many evolution to go. And we haven't even finished exploring and exhausting all the possibility and innovation. So, with this accelerating, expanding demand from solution seeker, we are seeing 5G devices growing exponentially into all devices. I still remember when 4G came out about 10 years ago, there were only a few smartphones and a few networks in the world. 5G, in a few short years, have already exceeded the 4G growth by many, many times. And more importantly, the technologies is penetrating into devices that most of us don't even have contact with on a daily basis. things like machineries in the factories, solutions that is embedded into some experience and immersive shopping experience that you go through on a daily basis, industrial handheld, green energy, IoT devices, and so on and so forth. All these devices are already equipped with many of the technology we talk about today. So 5G, in many ways, allow us to enjoy the experience while not seeing the devices. But the devices that you do get in touch with are some of those things that you see up here. The drone you fly, the compute that these days, a lot of them are ARM-based, and they're always connected, always on, always long battery life, thin and light, just like your smartphone. And all this growth will open up new applications and new needs and address the pent-up demand. I was sitting there thinking, like, it is so appropriate that I will speak at the last of the presentation for this morning's speakers, because kind of I'm summarizing everything I've heard earlier. But what is the most important thing that when we talk about 5G is also artificial intelligence. 5G almost always goes hand in hand with artificial intelligence and underpinned by a very reliable, very performance-centric 5G networks. And these 5G networks will have 5G millimeter wave and 5G sub-6, and both of them play very different roles. And if those of you who are involved in 3GPP, since the 5G conception started, the two spectrums are designed right from the beginning for this whole purpose. So intelligent in the edge, intelligent on devices, used to be intelligent on your phone. Every one of us is carrying a smartphone, and there's so much intelligence in there. But that is now being populated and proliferated into all the billions of devices that will be connected to an intelligent network. And like many of you said, these intelligence and the computing of this intelligence, while we have a very good 5G network, or many of the telcos have many good 5G networks connected to the cloud, many of the processing and the intelligence can take place at the edge or at the device. So you're going to see hierarchy of devices, all of them with intelligence. So we like to say, intelligently connected at the edge. And that's the kind of world that we're going to go into and provide, hopefully providing many of the solutions we see today. So with that, new applications come on board. Many of the presenters this morning share these things, and I share some of this here. Definitely in the industrial area, smart factories, smart homes, smart this, smart that. One of the things that the pandemic has given us is that the enterprise gateway is no longer in the enterprise. The enterprise gateway is now proliferating into gateway at your home, gateway when you're sitting at a Starbucks working on company businesses, and the same type of security, reliability, fast speed, etc., is expected of our enterprise employee. So just imagine what that means. You can reimagine exactly the kind of enterprise businesses and the services and the technology that need to do that, to provide that level of security. Enterprise at the home. Home gateway is now your enterprise gateway. So with that said, millimeter wave is extremely important in my opinion. I've been talking about millimeter wave for years now. And on this chart you can see, for the deployment of millimeter wave sub-6, you really can reach the kind of data throughput you need. And then with millimeter wave sub-6 and maybe O-RAN, virtual RAN, give you flexibility, scalability that's important for some applications and some networks. And one of the most important things, especially in Southeast Asia, in developing countries, what I call, the last mile. Okay, so we're fortunate in Singapore. A lot of us enjoy, fiber connections. But if you go to some of the rural areas, and the pandemic really underlined the need for bridging this digital divide. Many places in our neighborhoods in this region does not have fiber optics connection, does not have broadband. And we believe that millimeter wave or sub-6 together with fixed wireless access will provide you with the fiber on the air. And lastly, millimeter wave sub-6 plus standalone. Very happy to Singapore with a standalone network that is superb, covering 95% of the geographic area in Singapore. That is incredibly important to have that standalone for the infrastructure for especially industrial IoT. So 5G with millimeter wave is key components to bring you all the benefits that we already talked about. And I want to share with you a little bit on what Qualcomm is working with our ecosystems throughout the world. And these are some of the applications that we have going with our partners in Europe, in the United States, and especially here in Southeast Asia. Particularly, I want to point out this one example here, and there are many of them, and actually we are working with even Singtel here in Singapore. This example is something we're doing at Hanoi. It's in a university called Finica Universities. So working with VTEL and the university, the campus is all set up with millimeter wave and supporting applications of autonomous self-driving cars with a drone delivery system, intelligent classroom, compute on the go in the campus, enjoying the kind of big throughput and low latency that millimeter will bring. So all these technological and solutions bring us to a topic called private networks. Private network can be hosted by the telcos or in some countries by the enterprise themselves. It provides security, it provides isolation in factories, in enterprises, and so on and so forth. We expect private networks to grow significantly over the next few years. And these are some of the examples we are doing with partners throughout this region. One of the key highlights is, I live most of my time in Taiwan these days, working with ASE in Kaohsiung. We launched the first millimeter wave smart factory about 1.5 years ago. And just recently, we're expanding that to the second factory they have there. So these are no longer just POCs. They're actually demonstratable, workable use cases that benefit factories and so on and so forth. The venues is the most important. I think you're going to find many, many venues being willing and want to do these things. So Qualcomm continue to drive the evolution of 5G from release 15, 16, 17, and so on and so forth. We believe that it's not just, we have always been an ecosystem player. We just don't just do the chipset. We work with ecosystem to work out the solution. We need to do that even more in the world of 5G, in the world of connected intelligent edge. So with that, I'd like to say thank you for your time this morning. It's always nice to be back in Singapore and see some old friends. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Liu. Thank you. Great. I'm sure everyone's dying for a cup of coffee. Okay. Before you go, I'd like to mention the next session will be on building a digital nation, which will follow, I think, 20 or 25 minutes after your coffee break. Please keep that in mind and be back in time. Lastly, I'd like to self-promote myself. Tomorrow, we've talked about connectivity. So what sits on top of that? Okay, platforms and services. And who develops that? Startups, the innovative sector, and so forth. Tomorrow, we will have a summit, Digital Ecosystem Innovation Summit, for virtually a whole day to look at innovative startups, their services, and also rank them in terms of how attractive their services are. So please keep that in mind, and we would love to see you in that session as well. So please go ahead and enjoy your coffee break. Thank you very much.
Healthcare, food, living spaces, transportation, cities, enterprises, energy, and digital trust. We believe technology is forging a brighter future.
Throughout history, we have ventured into new territories. We have reached and explored outer space, but not the stratosphere. In 2017, SoftBank established HAPS Mobile and set off on a journey to the stratosphere. For what purpose? For the Internet. With the widespread expansion of mobile devices, we now use the Internet whenever and wherever we like. But half of the world still does not have access to the Internet. So, for the future, HAPS Mobile will take up the challenge of building a stratospheric telecommunication platform system, HAPS. HAPS is an unmanned aircraft system equipped with a mobile base station. It uses solar power to fly in the stratosphere. With this aircraft transmitting radio waves from 20 kilometers up in the sky, it can cover an area with a diameter of 200 kilometers. This coverage is equivalent to about 400 base station towers on land. HAPS's big advantage is that people can use the mobile devices that they normally use. Along with smartphones, HAPS can even be used for low-priced and energy-efficient IoT chipsets. Unlike satellite communications that require dedicated equipment, existing 5G and LTE can be used as is. With today's communication infrastructure, there is no internet where there are no people. But there are IoT devices, observation sensors, and cameras that are waiting to be connected. Imagine this: a future with HAPS aircraft flying above us, covering wide areas, resistant to disasters. The Internet is a core infrastructure, just like water, gas, and electricity. We're on a mission to make the technology accessible for everyone. We will continue to take on the challenge of developing the future of mobile communications to deliver Internet connectivity across the entire world.
The park is one of the most remote areas of Sarawak, and we knew that 4G connectivity would greatly benefit those who lived and worked there.
There was no commercial benefit. I mean, the resort was just next door and everyone built there, but we just had to do what was right. It was tough. I mean, it took 2 years to build.
In the construction of this tower, we faced a lot of logistical and transportation challenges. Hence, the time taken as well as the pandemic that occurred didn't help.
Maybe I'm a frontliner. Maybe what I do will help the real frontliners now and in the future. But it really humbles you to think about the bigger picture, how our actions can change someone's life.
Ultimately, it's about being able to do something that's bigger than yourself. I'm proud we did the right thing.